Hello, I've just come in from work. I've got about 20 minutes before I want to head back out. So I'm gonna change, get my everything together, make some lunch, like just a sandwich or something, and go. I'm feeling quite emotional, and I think it's a combination of things. I don't really have time to talk about all this now. But first of all, this morning it hit me that I'm a month away from my birthday, and if you've been around on this channel, you'll know that I get sensitive around my birthday. Also, obviously, the Jewish New Year is happening. Maybe not obviously, but New Year instills something in me as well. So we're like at that point of reflection and whatever. And I don't know, I guess just like the passage of time, the importance of life and what's happening and where I'm at and just everything. Like nothing major is happening. It's just various things at the moment are on my mind, which is fine. But I don't have time to chat. So I'm gonna pack and do everything. And I will try and vlog bits and bobs. I don't think I'm gonna vlog like everything of the airport experience. We'll see, just kind of depends on what's going on. It is really warm, which is not what I wanted, but that's okay, we'll manage. Right, okay, I will see you all at some point later on. Yay! Okay, I'm literally about to leave. I just need to put my camera and the charger in the bag. But literally only 10 minutes ago did I remember that I need to bring passports, or at least a passport. I was taking out my jacket, you know, getting ready to go, basically, and like make sure that I have everything. And I was tapping the pockets and I was like, hang on, passports. So I've got them now, and thank goodness I remembered that. But I think I've got everything else. Like as long as I have my passport, my phone, and a wallet, even, but like not even that, I'll be okay. I was saying this morning about how I need my phone and maybe my computer, and like that's really it. I didn't even mention my passport. Completely blanked, out of my mind, not on any lists, whatever, it's fine. Thankfully, we remembered. So, gonna go, and I will vlog bits and bobs where I can, when I feel like it. Yay! So, it is the 29th, I believe, of September, and no, 28th, and I am not back in London. I don't know if I told you guys anything about this upcoming trip to Holland, but I was meant to leave on Friday afternoon, I think I did tell you that, and then I was meant to fly home Thursday night. Spoiler alert, that didn't happen. Because I was in Holland with family and there were multiple of us, I was in the shared room, and so I didn't have any chance to chat to you, but my goodness, what a week it's been. So I'm gonna go through, I haven't made any notes, but I'm just gonna look at the calendar and talk through what I did day by day. And as I'm talking, I will overlay with footage, starting now with our departure, because there's probably quite a lot of footage. I haven't actually looked back at the footage yet, because I've not got back to London yet, but we will go into more detail about that as we continue the week. The flight to Holland was a bit delayed leaving, which was annoying, about 20-30 minutes. No, maybe it wasn't even that long. I think it was about 20, but it was still a reasonable flight, still got there more or less on time. But the thing that really amazed me, there was a woman sat next to me and she started doing her makeup as we were waiting, fair enough, and then continued to do her makeup throughout the entire process of takeoff, including being on the runway, starting to speed up and into the air. And I was just absolutely amazed by what I was watching. Obviously didn't record that for very obvious reasons, I'd like to believe. Then we arrived in Holland, all nicely on time, very smooth journey to my grandparents. That was great, made everything before Shabbat. But as I got home, it was more or less time to eat. I don't know, I think there was maybe half an hour to an hour of like sorting myself out. And then it was supper time, and that was just really lovely to be with my father and my grandparents, and just a wonderful evening all round. Saturday, I can't remember if we did anything, but I probably didn't vlog anything, so we'll just skip past that. On to Sunday. Sunday was a fantastic day. My father and I knew we wouldn't have much time together because, you know, we both really wanted to be there for my grandparents, but he had made a plan on Sunday with one of his friends, and then the friend ended up saying last minute that they couldn't do it, and would I like to go instead with my father? And so we made a whole day of it in Den Haag and Scheveningen. So we first went to Panorama Mestdag, which is just the most incredible experience. I'd never been to a panorama before. When my father had mentioned it to me, I was kind of expecting, I've been to the Monet Museum in France. I think it's in Paris or just outside of Paris, and that's what I was expecting, but this was nothing like it. This was a 360, a literal 360 that was so immersive and so unbelievable. There are, no words. My jaw dropped. Wauw. Maar dit is niet echt. Dit is niet geschilderd. Het ziet eruit als een projection. Wauw. Dit is ongelooflijk. Maar hoe schilder je dit? And it's just the most incredible experience, and I think I took a lot of footage, which is why I'm talking a lot now, and I think I just said footage in a very Australian accent, excuse me, but yes, enjoy watching me admire Panorama Mestach, because it was quite something. There were also some paintings beforehand. As I'm talking now, this will probably be in the opposite order of how you're watching it, but that was just sort of the gangway, if you will, into the panorama, and I highly recommend either going to that one or visiting another if there's one near you. I believe they're all pretty much localized to Europe. I think they mentioned there's one in Belgium and one in Prague, I think they said, but yes, absolutely would recommend. And then we went to the actual activity, which was a cacao ceremony, and it's meant to be quite meditative, and it's very much, I don't know what the right word is, I would say it's for people who believe in like stones and the moon and like the lunar astrology, like that kind of thing, which neither my father nor me really believe in. I'm very happy to be open to it, and especially the way they were talking about this cacao, like it definitely sounded like something that could be useful, and something that I wanted to take in. And also this was literally the day before Rosh Hashanah, which is our new year, and they were talking about the new moon and the new season, and you know, bringing in and closing a chapter to summer and bringing in the new season. So I could relate to a lot of it, and I really wanted to be open to the experience and to what it might do to me, but unfortunately from my end it was not a success. The cacao was not the most tasty, but it's not meant to be, but I could drink it, so that wasn't the problem. I just find meditation really hard, first of all, and also second of all, the position we were in was very uncomfortable, and so my back was very sore, and so I could not relax because I was so focused on how sore my back was. So that was a shame, but we still had a great experience, and it was very cool to be a part of it. And I'm glad I can now say that I've been to a cacao ceremony, so that was good. And then we visited, I think it's called like the Peace Palace or something like that, which was very cool. We couldn't go in, but we just sort of looked at it, admired it. And then we quickly drove to Scheveningen, which is what Panorama Mestach is based off of, or it is, you know, a depiction of, and I'd never been, or at least not that I can remember, so it was lovely and perfect weather, so we just had a quick walk along the boulevard, very, very quick, and that was so lovely. It was beautiful, it was gorgeous, it was just very enjoyable, and apparently one of my family members used to live there like a long time ago, so it was really nice to hear my father talk about that as well. So yeah, all in all, Sunday was just a very, very, very successful day. I don't think we did anything when we got home, but I can't remember, so if we did, I will insert videos as I'm talking, but I think that was it. Then Monday was very much a getting things ready day, because Monday night was Rosh Hashanah and we had more guests than we had anticipated. So yeah, it was just a lot of, you know, prepping food and doing last minute shopping and whatever else. I don't think there was much more than that. But we ended up having a really, really lovely first night of Rosh Hashanah. We had a number of guests, none of whom I knew, so it was lovely to get to meet them, and it really felt, basically, it's called a Yom Tov or a Chag, which is like the holidays that we celebrate, and in our family we often will have like discussions, or we'll do quizzes, or we'll add a little game just to give it that, you know, something special. And it really felt like a Yom Tov. It really, you know, my father did prepare a game, he also prepared like a couple of discussion points, and everyone participated and just was in a really good mood, and it was just a really successful night, and obviously for me it was lovely to be with my father leading it, and also with my grandparents, and then with these strangers to me. It went really smoothly and was a big success. Tuesday and Wednesday were Chag, which means that I wasn't filming anything, I wasn't on my phone, just chilling with family. Tuesday morning we did go to shul, to synagogue, to listen to the shofar. I don't know if you've heard of that. That's like it is a ram's horn that we blow throughout the month leading up to Rosh Hashanah, and then on the days of Rosh Hashanah, and then at the very end of Yom Kippur. We'll talk about Yom Kippur next week. But we got to hear that in shul, which was nice. And my father bumped into loads of people that he knew from times gone by, and introduced me to everyone, which was nice. And then it was just, we didn't even do that much because we came back home. I mean, the service on Rosh Hashanah is one of the longest services, so we didn't come home till about 3. And then we went for a quick walk, I think, or maybe we sat on the balcony or something, I can't quite remember. And then we had to get ready to go because we were walking then to some family friends, who is also one of the daughters is good friends with me, or I'm good friends with them. But it was about an hour's walk, so my father and I had to leave early enough to be able to make that. And that was also a really lovely night. So it was family friends, and the family is good friends of ours, but they had their extended family there as well, who we don't know at all. But again, it was just a really lovely evening. There's a Dutch word, I've mentioned it before, which is gezellig, and it's how I would describe all these various evenings that I'm talking about. It was just really pleasant, really lovely, really warm, and that finished a bit earlier, which was good because we were all quite tired. Although by the time we got home, I think it was about 11 or maybe just before, and we ended up chatting for another hour to an hour and a half just with the 4 of us. And it was so nice just to be able to like have conversation with just the 4 of us, because prior to that we hadn't really had an opportunity to just sit down and chat, not in that way at least. So that was also a big success. And then Wednesday morning we went to shul again, and again I think went for a walk after shul and sat on the balcony and just chilled the afternoon away, if you will. But then Wednesday night, the day before I was flying home, I got an email to say I had been accepted to audition for something in Belgium on Monday the 29th of September. And this is where the story starts to get interesting. So Wednesday night, I am panicking because I want to make sure that I can get to this audition, but I'm trying to work out, my parents said to me, why don't you just stay in Holland and see if someone can cover your work, Friday and Sunday, because those are the only 2 shifts I'd have to miss. But I really didn't feel comfortable doing that with, less than 24 hours, about 24 hours notice. It just didn't feel right. And especially because they have already been covering me sort of for the last, week that I've been away. So I didn't really want to do that. And I was trying to find the cheapest but most viable option in terms of getting to Belgium. And the problem is this audition isn't in a major city, it is somewhere between cities, so there's no easy way to get there. I did already plan or think about trying to arrive Sunday night, because I don't work Sunday night, and then staying with a family member who lives in Belgium, staying over the night, doing the audition on Monday and flying home Monday night. But there were no flights anywhere, into anywhere that were under, I'd say, £150 just to fly in. Even to Holland, we looked to Holland as well, and there was just no good option. So in the end, after a lot of research and a lot of talking to my father and trying to plan things, I found a route that was not ideal, but the best and the cheapest I could get, which was to leave Sunday night from London, taking a Flixbus, and arriving in Antwerp at 5 in the morning, which would give me more than enough time to get to my audition at 1 in the afternoon, and then fly home from Eindhoven, which is far away, and get from Eindhoven home at 9 something, which was, to be fair, a very cheap flight because it was with Ryanair. But to get to Eindhoven, I'm not sure if I will, as in if I will get there on time. Now I am travelling only hand luggage, but these were all the various things that I was trying to work out. Moving on to Thursday, just keep that in the back of your mind, that's what we'd planned. I saw my aunt in the morning because she arrived to Holland that morning, and we had lunch together and it was lovely. And we went shopping and we just sort of chatted again, killed some time, and then I headed to the airport. Very emotional because I was saying goodbye to my father. I wasn't so worried. I mean, it's always sad saying goodbye to my grandparents, but I'm going to see them again next week, so I wasn't so worried about that. But I was quite upset, as I always am, to say goodbye to my father. Get to the airport, and I think as I'm on the bus to the terminal, I check my phone just to check, EasyJet, if there was any updates about, are we leaving on time, what's going on? And when I had a look, it was delayed. The flight was delayed by an hour 10. Bearing in mind, the flight usually is only 50 minutes. Anyway, wasn't thrilled about that, but I was like, let's wait and see what happens. It might move. We will see. And a bit later on when I checked the board, I think it had gone backwards by 10 minutes, so it was now an hour's delay instead of an hour 10. And I was like, I'll take it. I'll take anything I can get at this point. And then, as I was just chilling, I got a message on my phone to say, we're really sorry, your flight's been cancelled. And I was confused because it was still showing on the board, and when I looked up again, it said it was going to depart at 7:45. So I was just like, why are they sending me a message to say it's been cancelled when the board tells me it's going to be leaving more or less on time? Well, with a 20-minute delay, but whatever. So I call my father, kind of, I don't really know, just saying, this is what's happening. I'm not sure whether to like rebook my flight yet or to wait and see if it comes up on the board. And as we had a bit of a conversation, and when we finished chatting, it then did say cancelled on the board. And so I was like, right, let's have a look at my options. So my first port of call was to see if I could get home on Thursday night. All the flights to Stansted and Luton, which were the two airports that I was flying to and from, were closed. There were no options to Heathrow, and Gatwick I think I didn't look at, and we'll come back to that. So with Luton, it showed that the earliest option was at 9 in the morning, or around 9 in the morning the next day, Friday morning. And I was like, theoretically, I'd probably be able to get to work by about 12. So yes, I would only be doing a half shift, but at least I could still be there and cover, some of it. And I'd be there obviously on Sunday. And I called my father again and he said, why don't you check Gatwick? And I did, because I hadn't. And there was a flight leaving at 7. At this point, it's like 6:15. So I was just like, right, I'm going to see if I can get on that flight. It wouldn't let me do it digitally, but I figured they're boarding now. Let me go to the gate and see if there's space. So I am speed walking to the gate, and I ask the gate warden or whatever you call them, and they said, no, sorry, this flight is full. But I could see that there were 2 more flights to Gatwick that night. So I thought, right, let me see if I can get on either of those. And it, again, just wasn't letting me on the phone. So I was like, right, I'll take the Luton flight on Friday morning then. Click onto it, and it disappears. And the only option it's showing, the earliest option it's showing, is at 7 o'clock in the evening. As you may have gathered from this video and from prior videos, I am Jewish. I don't fly on Shabbat. And so 7 o'clock on a Friday evening won't work for me. So at this point I'm thinking, right, I'm not going to be able to leave on Friday. I'm not going to be able to leave on Saturday, because even Saturday night, like the latest, would still be around Shabbat. So the earliest I could get home is Sunday morning, but my shift finishes at 1 on a Sunday. Is it worth going back for, 3 hours perhaps, to then leave again Sunday night and have a 12-hour bus journey? And it became quite apparent to me that that was not worth it and was going to be quite a headache as well anyway. If circumstances had been different, if I hadn't been in Holland with family, of course I would have found another option, or if I didn't have this audition on Monday that I needed to get back for anyway. But all things considered, it just made the most sense for me to stay until Monday. So I immediately contacted my work, very apologetic, because as I said, I don't like doing this, especially so last minute. Thankfully, they've been completely understanding. And so the biggest issue for me, the reason why I wanted to, obviously the reason I wanted to come back to England was because I didn't want to, leave my work in the lurch. But on top of that, I really wanted to have the chance to get all my stuff, my audition gear, my makeup, my sheet music, anything and everything that I needed for the audition, and be able to bring it to the audition. But things being as they were, that did not end up happening. So I made a long list on Thursday night after I'd already claimed back, or tried to claim back what I could from the flight and stuff. Made a long list of what I need for the audition. It actually wasn't too long. And on Friday, skip to Friday, we went shopping. And my goodness, I was shocked by how hard it was to find cheap items, like Primark, or what used to be H&M or C&A, or I can't think of Target, Kmart, cheap, not very high quality wares. And just no luck. And shoes was the biggest thing, because actually we figured out I could borrow a dress from my grandma, not perfect but good enough. Sheet music I could print at home. I needed a folder, but that is just a couple of euros, that's easy enough. But I only had my trainers with me, and thank goodness I even brought those and my leggings, because I only brought those because I thought I might run, because there is a dance part to this audition. But I was shocked by how hard it was to find the things I needed. in the end, we managed to buy a €15 pair of boots, which was like literally right at the very end. I will show you them another time. They are by no means perfect, not even close, but for €15, they were the cheapest, and also they are boots I will wear again, and I needed boots anyway, so I would never go to an audition really in boots, but we're gonna have to make do. So we got what we needed on Friday, and we got it all sorted, and everyone was very helpful at home, you know, all the family, so that made a big difference. Obviously the support of having my father there, having my grandparents there, having my aunt there, that definitely made a massive difference. But I definitely got quite emotional when I realised I wouldn't be going back to London on Thursday night, but I think it was just because I was already so emotional from saying goodbye to my father. So that was Friday. And then we had Friday night, which was nice, and then Shabbat, we didn't go to shul, we just had a chill morning. Everyone was packing because my father was also leaving on Sunday, as was I, and we were just, you know, sorting the flat out. And again, going for a walk, sitting on the balcony, just chilling, chatting, really lovely actually. And Saturday night, because it was the last night with all of us, we went out for supper, which was so good, it was so yummy, and again, it was just so nice to be together. So all in all, it's actually been quite successful. But now we are on Sunday. And this morning I said goodbye to my father, which was hard, but this time it didn't feel as hard as it did on Thursday. And I don't know if it's because I'm the one who's staying, and that maybe is easier, or if it's because I'd already gone through all the emotions on Thursday, and so like I'd already cried myself out. It was still hard, but it wasn't as impossible. And so I said goodbye to him, had some lunch, and then I got on a bus to come to Belgium to stay with my aunt, or a great aunt, and it was a long journey, but very comfortable, very easy. And then when I got here, they had extended family over, not people I know, but we were all just sitting in the garden because it's a nice day for it, and chatting and all that. And now I've just come upstairs. Obviously this has been a long clip, but I was practicing my song, which I've practiced a few times now, and I feel pretty confident, I hope. And from here, getting to the audition, first of all, it's going to be so much easier than from anywhere else. Still long, I still need to allow about an hour, but seeing as my audition isn't until 1, that's no problem. And my great aunt said she might drive me, which would be really nice. And then getting home, or getting to Eindhoven, is going to be a struggle, because it's predicting about 3.5 hours, and the audition should end at 3. So theoretically, if everything goes to plan, it should be okay, but I think I've got like 4 or 5 transfers that I need to make. So we'll see if I am able to do that. My great aunt seems to be considering bringing me sort of halfway to Eindhoven, where I can just get on one train and then get to Eindhoven and then get to the airport. But I'm not holding out hope. We will see. I should have enough time regardless. I'm only travelling hand luggage. I actually left a lot at my grandparents', and for my journey back from Holland next time, I'm taking the Eurostar, which is great because it means I can have basically endless luggage. So I could leave loads there. I only took with me what I need for the audition, and if there's anything I need in London, which is like my laptop, chargers, that's about it really. So I've travelled as light as possible, and hopefully everything will work itself out. So that is the update from Belgium, and I don't know how much I'm going to film tomorrow, because obviously I'm going to be nervous before the audition, and then after it's going to be a matter of like rushing and making sure I make all my connections to get to the airport, but maybe I'll try and vlog something when I'm at the airport. So that's the update of the last week. It has been really lovely being in Holland. It's just been a crazy story and crazy things happening, but I've had a great time, and I'm very happy to have been here, to actually have stayed, even though it was annoying at the time. Like, actually it's worked out really well for me, and also to know I'm coming back next week. Obviously it just makes saying goodbye easier, it makes everything easier, it's fun, like it makes me very happy, although I do think by the time I get to the end of October I'm going to be ready to just like live a normal life for a couple of weeks. But that is where we're at. I will see you all soon. Hello. So it's now just after 9:30 and I need to check in for tomorrow's flight, but around 9 we'd finished clearing up and everything, and my great aunt and uncle asked, what do you want to do? Do you want to watch some TV, or, you know, what do you want to do? And I was feeling exhausted. Now, I did wake up earlier today than I have the last week,
But I still slept, you know, at least 7 or 8 hours, plus I had a semi-nap on the coach, and I don't know why I'm so tired, but I am. So I went upstairs, had a shower, and as I said, I'm now going to check in, but then I think I'm more or less just going to get into bed, maybe scroll on my phone, definitely scroll on my phone for a bit, but also try to have an early night, because I do think it'll be hard to fall asleep. It always is the night before an audition, or I wake up early, so at least that way I can be at my best in terms of sleep and awakeness, especially because the next few days are also going to be long days, hard days, so to be able to stay awake and not stay awake, to be able to get the most amount of sleep today, I think will set me up hopefully for a good audition, but then also for a good week ahead. That's all I'm going to share with you for now. I'm going to check in and then more or less go to bed. I think I've made it to the airport. Yes, I've just seen a big sign. I am exhausted, but I'm glad I'm here. It's about 7 o'clock, so perfectly on time. And now to chill for another couple of hours before I finally get home. There's the sign, so we're in the right place.